Okay. Welcome everybody. This is Rebecca Rosario. This is your instructor, and what I'm going to do is be showing you over the next couple minutes how to set up your FTP. So within your course, you're going to find that located on the left-hand side of your screen are some type of FTP instructions, whether or not you're in Web Apps, you're in Web Programming 1, etc. So FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol, and what it is it's physically taking the files that are on your computer and transferring them over to the Seminole State server. By transferring them to the Seminole State server, you have now taken your files and they are now live online. So be aware anything that you put out there on the server is accessible. So we only want to put information that is secure. We only want to put information that we are okay with sharing with. Now, there's a three-step process. For web applications, you have a three-step process. For Web Programming 1, you have a one-step process. So if you're in web applications, you're going to complete steps 1, step 2, and step 3. There are 3 separate videos, one for each of these steps. If you're in Web Programming 1, you will complete step 1. Now, when you open this Word document, the first set of instructions is simply to log on to your FTP account and access your server space or storage on the Seminole State server. So the first thing you're going to be asked to do is go to your email. And in your email or your Sakai messages, you're going to see an email that says something like, could say something like Seminole State, username, password, FTP, username, password. You are going to be assigned 2 things. You are given a student number, and then I'm also giving you a generic password. This student number, which is case sensitive, which means you have to use a lowercase s, this student number is the number that you are assigned to for the rest of the semester. This is going to be your chunk of storage space on the Seminole State server of where you're going to be storing your websites. So the first thing we need to do, as the Word document is going to instruct you to, is to connect. And we are going to connect before we change your password. So to do that, you are going to use FileZilla or any other equivalent FTP program. So let me open my FileZilla. And in my FileZilla, what I'm going to do, and FileZilla loves giving lots of updates. Now, again, you don't have to use FileZilla as your FTP program. It's completely up to you what you use. Whatever you use, though, the host is going to be webdev.seminolestate.edu. Again, webdev.seminolestate.edu. It is lowercase. I'm going to grab that text and I'm going to put it into my host. Now, your username is your student number. So if you are assigned, let's say 250, you would grab student 250 and type that in for the username. The password is going to be the generic password that is sent each term. So this is currently spring 2015, but again, it could be, let's say if it's in the fall, you could also be given another generic password. But the username and the password are sent in your email. And what you're going to do for the port number is you must put port 21 in. And I just changed this password, so I can't remember what I changed it to. There we go. Okay. So port 21 is what the port is. Now on the left-hand side of your screen is this is your computer. This is your computer. Your laptop, desktop, whatever you're using. Okay, so you can see I can kind of click around here. The right-hand side where it says remote site is going to be the Seminole State server. You're going to locate public HTML file folder. The public HTML folder is where you put all of your files. If you do not put your files in this folder, it will not work. Now, inside of this folder, if you are in web applications, you're going to create a new folder called Publish. And I'll go ahead and create those for you. And you're also going to create a folder called Practice. And this is if you are in web applications. So to create a folder, I right-click and I go to create directory, and let's say here I type in the instructions in the Word document are going to ask you to create a folder called practice. The P must be lowercase, so make sure it is lowercase, then press OK. And if you mess up on the folder, it's just like any computer directory. You can delete the folder and just start again, just as you saw I did. We're going to create another folder if you're in web applications, and it is going to be publish. Now, if you are in web programming 1, you do not need to do this. Okay, so for web application students, you should have a practice and a publish folder. The practice folder is where you put your weekly labs, and the publish folder is where you're going to be putting your project that we're working on. Now, to access your URL, you will go to a browser window. Let's say I'm going to type in I am student 250. Okay, so you will put first the student number, so student 250, it is lowercase, case sensitive. Then you're going to put the host name, which is webdev.seminolestate.edu. Excuse me. And when you go to this site, it's going to say homepage for whatever your student number is. Now, if I want to, let's say, access the practice folder, I will type in practice. Wait a second. Notice I'm getting a security issue. When you receive the security issue, my fix has been just to go into Firefox. And so in Firefox, now it works, right? If it comes up with a security issue, you will accept the security, say, I understand the risk, and then confirm the exception, and then continue with the site. Now, notice it says forbidden, and the reason it says forbidden is because I have nothing in the practice folder yet, okay? Now, in steps 2 and 3, we will show you how to put items inside of this folder if you are in web applications. The next step on the instructions is to change your password. So to change your password, you need to go to webdev.seminolestate.edu. Okay? You're going to type in webdev.seminolestate.edu 2000. When you, it's going to, mine's already logging me in, but when you have a username and password, you're going to put in your student number for your username, the generic password. You're going to type these in and you're going to continue. Then when you log in, on the left-hand side, there's a screen that says change password. What you're going to do is you're going to put in your current password. You're going to put in your new password. And then we're going to press then change now. And as soon as you press change now, you are going to get an error that says permission denied failed. That's actually a good thing. Your username and password is changed still. Okay, so just a heads up, it means it's still working. Okay, so these are the instructions for completing step 1 of the process of creating your FTP account. Now, once you've changed your username and password, the next time that you log into your FTP program, you will be using that same username and password. Now, when you're using FileZilla, never, ever, ever, even though it gives you the option, never store your username and password into the FTP program. From previous experience with several, I had my own business, and I had several, it was like 20 to 30 customers, and I was being lazy, tired of typing in all the usernames and passwords to access their accounts. And what I did was I stored the usernames and passwords. Well, somebody got into my computer, I got some malware, and a couple of my customer accounts were jeopardized, and I basically had to go clean their accounts out. So please be careful with this. Do not use, and I lost, of course, as you can imagine, I lost those customers, right? Do not store your usernames and passwords in any FTP program. Type them out or copy and paste them from another location. Don't have them, the usernames and passwords, close to the program at all. In fact, I store mine on my external hard drive, which is in a different location than my software. So it's very important, because if anybody has access to this combination of your username and password, they can access your website. Okay, so very, very important. Okay, everybody, thanks for listening. And the second step of instructions, if you're in web applications, will be ready to follow. So go ahead and watch those.